Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond Sport, the podcast that talks about sport, careers, mental health and everything in between. You are welcome today by myself, Craig. We have Mark, we have Nathan, and we have student guest host as well, Annika. And I'm delighted to welcome today our GB karate athlete, Kat Fewster.
Hi.
There we go. Right. So today we're going to start off with kind of about where it all kind of began for you, Kat, in terms of your karate kind of career and stuff. When did you first start? What kind of inspired you to start karate? Because it's obviously not, I won't say a mainstream sport, but it's becoming more, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I guess I started karate when I was 9, so I was in year 4 at school. A lot of my friends were doing it at the time, so I just thought that I'd have a go as well. And I remember begging my mum for ages and ages, and she just finally gave in. So I guess my friends were my main influence, but if you ask my mum, she'd definitely say it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. So yeah, massive influence on me.
And that kind of age and time, a lot of kind of TV and movie did influence a lot of stuff. Like obviously you see the re-erection of the kind of Cobra Kai now and that influence on the sport and martial arts, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Lots of people watching Cobra Kai. It's great. Hopefully it gets a few more people involved.
Absolutely. And then obviously, I don't want to miss anything out in between, but obviously you stuck at it for, until now, and you've seen some quite good success along the way, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've been doing karate for around 25 years now, so quite a long time. So I guess when I was around green or blue belts and kind of halfway up to black belt, I started doing quite major competitions like the national championships. Started getting into the quarterfinals, semi-finals, starting to medal maybe around brown belt. Got invited to England or national squad trials probably around the age of 11, 12. I passed my black belt at 13, and it was that year that I actually got selected for the GB squad for the first time. And I won my first major British title at 14, so quite young, but I guess I'd been doing the sport for around 5 years at that time.
Sort of class that.
Especially at 13 being a black belt.
Yeah, not bad. It took me about four years to get there, so yeah, pretty good going, I guess. We're still enjoying competing today. Obviously, I've gone up categories in terms of going from junior to cadet to now senior. And then later this year, I'll actually be joining the veterans for the first time. So, yeah, hopefully I'll be able to compete against all the different age ranges.
So do you find like from your first competitions when you was 13 and before to now, like, how do you prep yourself mentally? Is it still the same way or has it got tougher as have you got older?
I feel like it's adapted over the years. I mean, when you go to big competitions as a kid, I remember going to Belgium when I was about 15, representing GB, and I felt physically sick. I mean, my legs were shaking. I didn't know, like I was scared I wasn't going to be able to kick or punch. I mean, now I feel like when I prepare, if my pre-competition workout and everything's gone really well, like I've got no injuries, I've been performing well at regionals, then I feel a little less stressed. I mean, now if I feel nervous, it just feel as if it's more of a sign that you're ready. I mean, it gets your adrenaline pumping and you're just ready to go.
So nice. You kind of talked about that kind of step from kind of junior to cadet to adult, then senior, and then to veterans. Now, you'll always notice that your success kind of builds up. Then you go, oh, I'm into the next section, and then you have to start all over again. How do you deal with that kind of mentally from that kind of side of things?
I guess it's all about being on a learning curve. I mean, you kind of accept that when you go from like being a 13-year-old going up into a 14-year-old, everyone's bigger than you. I mean, everyone's bigger than me in the seniors, but you just kind of accept it and just like the first year or something you go into it, you just take it as a pinch of salt and learn from more experienced fighters and just grow into that category, I guess.
What's it like being a world champion? You were sort of saying about you get to like the level where you're the best in the world. What's that like?
It's amazing. I mean, when I was 16, I went to my first World Championships. It was in Eslöv in Sweden, and we actually won gold in the team event. So that was pretty special to me. I think I just left school, so just finished my exams and then go off to the World Championships and get a gold in the teams was pretty special. And then 5 years ago now in Dublin, I got a gold in my individual events. That's the first time I'd won it as an individual. So that was pretty emotional feeling, pretty special, like on top of the world. There's no better feeling than getting on the top and you're number one in the world in your category. It's amazing. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, must be special. I'll never experience it, will I? So alongside your karate, you're also your secondary PE teacher.
Yeah, I am. I teach PE at Rossington All Saints.
That in itself is a challenge. How did you get to become a PE teacher? What steps did you take in terms of your academic journey?
Well, believe it or not, when I was at school, I actually wanted to be a vet and then ended up being a PE teacher. So it's complete career change, completely mental, really. I guess when I started getting a little bit better at karate, going up the belts, I got involved with coaching a little bit more. And from there, I found that teaching, coaching was my actual passion. So that's the path I actually pursued. I didn't actually go to university until 21. So I was a mature student. I graduated from uni. I went to Lincoln Uni doing sport and exercise science. Graduated with a 2-1, and instead of going straight into teaching, I worked as a teaching assistant at a school in Scunthorpe. So I worked as a teaching assistant for 2 years, but also a school sports coordinator. So I worked with primary and secondary. From there, I guess I realised that it was secondary students that I wanted to work with. So from there, I did what's called the GTP, Graduate Teacher Programme. I know it's not quite around now at the moment. It's more to do with Teach First and school direct approach. But yeah, I did after my undergrad, I did my GTP for a year and graduated and finally got my job at Rossington, and I've been there ever since. So that's basically how I got into it.
No, that's class. Good stuff, yeah.
That's brilliant. And kind of like how you've alluded to it there, obviously teaching is frustrating and also inspiring and all these sort of things. What would you say that kind of the best thing about being a PE teacher is? What would you say?
I think teaching the students of tomorrow, like recognising the skills and introducing students to different sports and finding something that they're good at and something that they can progress in really well. So I guess it's introducing students to sports that they've maybe not done before and finding their passion and sharing that journey with them.
Brilliant. Annika, do you want to ask your question?
How do you deal with the pressure of competing at such a high level?
Like I said before, it's all to do with the preparation. I mean, if I'm physically prepared in terms of the competitions I've done leading up to a big competition, then it makes my mindset feel quite positive. I feel ready to go. I mean, before I actually go into a big competition, I've never told anyone this, so I probably think it's a bit weird, but before I go to sleep, I actually imagine an opponent and the techniques I'm going to use and go through that into my head. And it kind of helps you sleep a little bit more, and I do that to help me go to sleep. And I guess on the day, I do, again, I've not told anyone this, I probably think I'm weird, but I do quite a lot of self-talk in my head. So like, say different words, like positive things, try and psych me up, get ready to go. And it's quite a private thing that I do, just to get myself psyched up, I guess.
But again, you're probably not the only athlete that does that, that visualizes the night before and kind of has them pre-match or pre-competition kind of routines and rituals, like putting a certain pad on before the other pad and stuff like that, So yeah, that's class, and thank you for sharing that information with us as well. That's brilliant.
Is it tough, like building this positive image in your head before competing and stuff, and then like we alluded to in the little chat before, you suffered quite a serious injury. Like how did that kind of affect you, and in terms of both mentally and then like focusing on competitions and getting back?
Yeah, so my injury, I was actually practicing skiing for a school trip and I just fell awkwardly and managed to dislocate my kneecap, and it caused a massive hole in my knee, about 6 centimetres long, so it ripped out some of my cartilage. So I had to have pretty major surgery where the surgeon drilled holes through the cartilage to try and get it to grow back. And following that, I was left with my leg in a brace for 7 weeks, where I got pretty bad muscle wastage, where my leg just basically wasted away, and it was stuck straight as well. It wouldn't bend whatsoever. So it hit me pretty hard mentally. I mean, it's probably the toughest thing that I've ever had to go with. There's such negativity around it. I was angry with myself. I was frustrated. It happened probably 2 months before I was due to go to the World Championships and defend my title. So I was pretty upset. I don't know really what was going through my head, but I had quite a lot of good support from my friends, colleagues, my family. It helped me to start thinking a little bit more positively. And with my physio, it got me back on track, little baby steps, and just thinking, I guess, more positively about my physio being part of my training and not something that I had to do. I mean, probably the worst thing about it was not actually knowing if I was even going to walk properly again, let alone compete. So having to deal with that on a day-to-day was absolutely horrific. And I was off work at the time, obviously, with not being able to walk. I was sat at home on my own for around 8 weeks. And as you can imagine, it kind of eats away at you. So yeah, it took a lot of grit and determination to firstly get my mindset around, yeah, I can do this. Come on, keep going. Look at what you've been able to do in a week. And it was that change of mindset that I guess that really helped me get through it.
And you allude to a support network there, having a good support network. And it's something we encourage our students to use in terms of their own support network. Peers, teachers, coaches, people in their lives. Would you say like sort of a key part of gaining success and getting on to that next step?
I would definitely agree. I mean, my family have supported me from day one. As soon as I started competing, and they knew it was my passion in life, and they'd do absolutely everything to support you. And I suppose it's the same in life as well. Just having somebody there and being able to speak to them about it really helps. It might not necessarily be to do with sport. It might be something at school, at college, something that's bothering you. Having that support network there, yeah, I completely agree. Just does get you through it.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in lockdown at the minute, and it's surreal. It's so weird, especially yourself as a teacher. How have you coped with it? How have you got through the Zoom lessons and not been able to train as much as you want? How have you got through it?
It's tough. I really miss the face-to-face interaction, but I guess part of teaching is the ability to adapt, and that's what we've had to do both within the karate world, the sport world, and within teaching as well. Just looking for different ways to get students on board and interacting. I mean, with karate, we're doing quite a lot over Zoom. I know with some of my squad members, we've done like a FaceTime and took it in turns to deliver like little workouts, just trying to beast each other through it. And especially with school, we're working on Microsoft Teams at the moment, and all of the PE teachers just taking it in turn to do like fun, daft warm-ups and getting the students involved. So it's just anything that we can do at the moment, just adapting and just evolving with the times, really. And do you know what? I'm actually quite enjoying challenging myself and thinking about different ways to adapt. So yeah, we're dealing with it as best we can. Obviously, I can't wait to teach, coach, train properly, but yeah, we're making the most of how it is at the moment.
Yeah, and especially I wouldn't say it's easier having an individual sport, because you can still train and box and do karate, whereas maybe football or rugby you can't. You still do your workouts.
Yeah, I do. I mean, sometimes at the start it was fine because you've got the motivation. It's hot outside. It was really nice weather. Now when it's freezing cold, you don't particularly want to go outside, and I guess that's when the support network comes in. Friends, family, doing little workouts together, just motivating each other, encouraging each other to do it, and just digging deep and getting it done, really. And I suppose that's what I've used this lockdown, because it is freezing outside. You don't want to go out, but if there's a few of you actually doing the training, then you're more likely to do it and get on with it. And it's, to be honest, it's been quite fun getting everyone involved, and just the social aspect of it as well.
Annika, is that something that you've done with your boxing training?
Yeah, we ended up doing lockdown sessions on Zoom, so we did like box fit, we did our fitness training. You've kind of had to take it into your own hands, really. So you've had to do your own runs, set up your own gym. I've got one down at Stables with my bags in. It's hard because you've got to have the motivation yourself to get what you want. You've got to look at the future. If you don't put in now, then you won't get out of it later on.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. And again, that's how we talked about it earlier. So kind of going kind of pre-COVID then, Kat, sort of looking at both your karate and your PE kind of career, how do you manage to kind of balance the two, at competing at such high level and training, the demands of that, and then also the demands of your day job? So how do you find that, and how do you deal with that kind of mentally as well?
I think, like Annika said, it's about the motivation. Just you want to get the goals. You've got the drive, determination to do it. So I think mentally, that's what's pushed me through it. I mean, sometimes you have such a busy day and you come home and think, I really don't want to go training. I'm tired, but it's just like, well, I want to be a world champion. I want to do this. I want to do that. So that drives you through it. And I guess for me, it's time management. I mean, I have set days where I said, right, this is the day that I'm going to do some pad work. This is the day I'm going to go to the gym. So you kind of work around it. And that's how I've managed to keep training and keep working at the same time. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it does take a lot of work and a lot of determination, but it's doable. If you want to do it, you'll do it.
I suppose, like you say, that's the kind of sacrifice you have to kind of make if you want to achieve them high levels and you want to push yourself to be
definitely
kind of don't you? Good.
Like turning your head to the future and looking at karate being involved in Tokyo 2021, do you think it's like an exciting time for the sport, and in terms of growing even further, and even yourself, like in terms of even participation, or coaching capacity? Like, is it something you see yourself sort of progressing towards?
So yeah, with karate being in the Olympics, first time it's ever been accepted to be an Olympic sport, so it's really exciting for us. As it's a minority sport at the moment, I'm hoping that exposure within the Olympic Games helps to boost popularity and participation, not just in the UK, but worldwide. And I'm hoping then that'll mean big things for the sport in itself. Unfortunately, WKF karate isn't a part of the Olympics. It's WKF karate, so it's a slightly different code to what I actually practice. So I won't be taking part in it, but I will be supporting the sport and the Olympic Games as much as I can, and getting my students to buy into it as well.
I like it.
Do you find many of your students are interested in karate because of your influence?
Well, I put karate and martial arts actually on the curriculum at school. So as part of our performing at maximum levels strand on our curriculum, yeah, we do quite a lot of karate, and we practice our roundhouse kicks and stuff together like that. So yeah, a lot of students, particularly in Rosington, are well into martial arts, particularly MMA and boxing. So yeah, they really do enjoy the martial arts, and we like to have a little chat about which martial arts are more effective, and it's quite a good turning point with the conversation, to be honest, in lesson.
Definitely, and like I've known Craig for years, and he sort of says about the discipline that martial arts gives to you. You know, it's not just about beating people up, for want of a better word. It's not about just the aggression. It's almost about controlling the aggression and being able to channel, whether it be you ADHD or you have, different things going on, how you channel it, you would do it. And it's definitely, we've found the influence of our guys who would do martial arts. They are a lot more disciplined, and they are a lot more, self-aware.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, students with learning difficulties, especially ADHD, it gives them something to focus on, particularly when they're practicing the kata. That focused on getting the stances right and the precision of it all, and then channeling the competition nerves and getting up onto the mat and doing it. You can really see a difference from when they begin to how calm they are before they get onto the competition area. It's really good to see.
Do you feel like the kind of things you've practiced and learned through your karate, how has that helped you in your kind of like everyday kind of life and your career, and the characteristics that you've built upon in your karate? How has that transferred across into your career and stuff like that?
I think, like you say, it's all about the discipline. I feel like it has made me grow into the person that I am, like from finding the passion in actually teaching and coaching to how I actually am within my personality. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like really outgoing with how I am, but I am confident in what I do. And I suppose it's that confidence and being able to go and speak to people when I want to, and that social aspect has really brought me on, and I guess the communication as well. So all of those fundamental skills are definitely brought about by karate. and it's helped me shape into the person I am today.
Excellent.
Indeed. Going back, if you were, a lot of our guys are 16 to 19, what advice would you give a 16 and 19-year-old, either going through to become the world champion or to go through the academic route to become a teacher like yourself? You're highly proficient at both. What advice would you give?
I'd maybe say just make sure you have time to relax. I mean, with society being so busy and stressful today, it's often easy to work 7 days a week. And that's pretty much what I did in my early career, just not have a rest. And you can easily burn out. So having that time to have that rest, recover, have some me time, like chill out a little bit, step away from the world, I guess. I'd definitely recommend that. I'd probably say get used to speaking and using your support network around you as well. So maybe if something's bothering you and you don't speak about it, it could sort of eat up at you. So just being able to develop the ability to open up and share how you're feeling with other people and get it out of your system a little bit. And I guess finally is just be positive. I know sometimes life can be full of lots of negatives and you can feel like you're having a really bad day, but just getting into the habit of pulling out any positive from an absolutely horrendous situation will start changing your mindset up to being a lot more positive, and things that seem absolutely horrendous at the time and you feel like there's no way out, well, actually, if you think about it, it might not be as bad as you actually first thought by being that positive person.
Mid advice, yeah.
Thanks.
Have you got any kind
I've seen your brains on now.
Brilliant. Annika, have you got any thing you'd like to ask Kat, for example? Any other thing?
Yes, I do actually. Would you say that there is more opportunities for people in karate in sports now than there was when you first started?
That's it.
That is a really good question. I think I'm going to have to think about this one. I think more now, there's more opportunities, there's more clubs, there's more styles that have come out, and I think there's more different places that offer karate as well. I mean, when I was younger, it was just in the odd leisure centre, whereas now it's kind of practiced everywhere, and there's different forms of martial arts as well. There's kickboxing, taekwondo, like boxing like you do as well. There's just more opportunity to get involved in sport, and like I say, we have martial arts on the curriculum as well at school, so there's definitely, I feel, more exposure to it, so people are more likely to get involved. And like Craig said earlier about Cobra Kai, there's lots of different programs and films that entice people to get involved in martial arts, which is definitely great for the sport. But I always think that martial arts in itself are really good for developing a person as well, thinking about that discipline, that self-defense, all of those different things. So yeah, good question.
And I think like you both will probably, you'll be able to pick someone out as soon as I mention this. And when you're talking about your kind of instructors and your coaches, even from a young age, they are your role models. Like Kat, you mentioned about doing coaching that inspired you to then become a teacher. And imagine like Annika and your ambitions now, you probably look at your coach and you think, oh, I like these qualities in him, or I like, or her, and you might want to emulate that in the future. Yeah. So, just to kind of round off then, is, martial arts is a brilliant thing, no matter if it's boxing, kickboxing, whatever it may be. I know I might be talking from the converted here, but it can give you some really good life skills. And I think to round, just to talk about it from there, when we're saying about if you are struggling or if you don't think you can see the positives in things, remember you've got that kind of build that support network up, whether it be friends, family, whatever it may be. And again, if you are struggling, try and talk to someone, talk to anyone, especially if you're a student, staff are here to listen, and vice versa, But thank you very much, Kat, for that chat. Really appreciate you coming on the podcast. Again, we're trying to bring different athletes from different sports each week and stuff. So we hope you all the best for the future, both in your career and also in your karate ambitions as well. And that's it. So thank you very much, everyone.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.